Hi everyone, it's me. So today we are going to talk about 5 ways that the UK is better than America. Yes, I said that. We're going there. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanna and I'm a Canadian who has lived in England for the last 4 years. I then moved back to Canada so I could reapply for a new visa to go back to England, but right now I am in Florida in the United States. So because I'm here in the US, I thought it'd be fun to do a couple videos about the US because we don't really talk about them that much, and I hope you guys like it. Now, I've actually spent a lot of my life in Florida specifically, and I've also traveled a lot of the US. So these are things that I'm not necessarily talking about because I've seen them in movies, but more so because I've spent a lot of time down here. My parents own a property in Florida, so we spend a lot of time in the US. Okay, that's my resume. I hope it is acceptable. So without further ado, let's go. For those of you who know me, who subscribe, hi, how's it going? I miss you. Thank you for being here. You might remember my beautiful gray couch back in England. I got a new couch to sit in front of for a few weeks before going back to Canada. So UK gets a gray couch, Florida gets this like cream colored couch. So anywho, that wasn't exciting. So starting off at number 1, one of the things that the UK does better than the US is pubs. And I will talk about British pubs until the day I die. I love finding a new, like, historical, cozy, friendly British pub. I love it. It's fabulous. And they are good. Did I say that enough? They're good. Awesome. Wonderful. Now, of course, the US doesn't really have British pubs for obvious reasons. There are loads of bars and restaurants and clubs and dive bars and sports bars and all sorts of things in the US, but they do not have the classic British pub that the UK does, obviously. But I love a British pub. I know a lot of my viewers have said ever since there was a smoking ban implemented that loads of the pubs have since closed down in the UK, which I get. I mean, I appreciate the smoking ban, so you won't get any sympathy from me, but it has closed a lot of pubs. However, there are still tons in the UK, like tons. And I miss them and I love them. And America just doesn't have them. Number 2, one of the things that the UK does better than America is price tags. Now I know this is dumb, but this is my YouTube channel and I can do what I want. When you see something in a store in the UK, the price tag is the price of that item. Makes sense, right? Here in America, and actually in Canada as well, the price tags of things does not include tax. How annoying. So I've had a couple instances since I've been back in Canada and now back in the US where I'm buying things and I'm adding it up in my head, so I'm like, I kind of anticipate what the final price will be, so I just, I have it in my head. And I get up there and they ring it all through, and then it's more than I expected because the tax is added on at the till. And I hate it. Stop doing it, please. It's awful. Now, it's one of the things that I really miss about the UK that you don't see here in North America is having that tax on the price tag. It makes life so much simpler. So I should also probably say, I don't have a tripod here in the US. I'm at my parents' place, and I've rested my camera on top of their TV like cabinet, and I just hit it with my hand. So it probably doesn't even look quite the same. Just pretend I didn't tell you this, but anywho. Number 3, how was I saying that? The third thing that the UK does better than America is history. I know this seems dumb. I know all of these probably seem dumb, but these are the things that I notice like on a day-to-day sort of thing, and plus it's my own opinion, so nobody's asked for this. So number 3 is history. I absolutely love the history in the UK. You see it everywhere. And as someone who's come from southern Ontario, where everything is a little bit sterile in that way. It is so noticeable going to the UK, and you're walking along a cobble street, you know, that was an old Roman road, or you see this giant beautiful cathedral that kings and queens went to, or you walk by a castle on your way to work, and it's so ingrained in the everyday life in England that I absolutely love it. And for obvious reasons, the US doesn't have that kind of history. There is still history here, of course, and there's evidence of it, you know, statues and monuments and plaques and that kind of stuff, but it's obviously just, it's not the same. It's not the same, and it's not to the same scale as it is in the UK. And now that I am not living in the UK, like I'm trying to apply back to the UK, but now that I'm out, I really miss that history. And just, you know, one of my favorite things, like I said, is going to the pub. So there's this one pub that I really like that I would just walk to, and it's like from the 1400s in this beautiful historic building, and you get, you know, a pint of cider, because I'm a cider girl, you know, maybe some Angry Orchard or whatever, and you just sit in this beautiful historical pub, and it's cozy and it's friendly, and that whole sort of thing I absolutely love. And you do not get that here in the US. You do not get those types of pubs, and you do not get that kind of history. So, sorry guys. The fourth thing that the UK does better than the United States, healthcare. Yep, we're going there, so buckle up. So as a foreigner in the UK, as part of my visa, I paid into the NHS, which is the National Health Service. Or is it healthcare? I'm pretty sure it's the National Health Service. But anywho, just pretend that I don't make any errors in any of my videos, because I am all-knowing. So as a foreigner, I paid a lump sum into the NHS in the UK, and then as an employee, I also paid, you know, my taxes were taken off of my pay and put towards the NHS. So you kind of pay twice, but I think it's fair that way. Anyway, we're not gonna dive into that because that's a whole nother story. But the great thing was that once I arrived in the UK, I had paid those fees, I could use the health system like a regular citizen. So I registered with a doctor, I got prescriptions, certain things like birth control pills are free, and I had a prescription that is £9. I misquoted in an old video because I always misquote everything. And I had said there was different tiers for prescriptions, but there's actually only 2 tiers. It's either nothing, you get it for free, or it's £9, which is incredible. Of course, that's just for England. I think viewers were saying that Wales and Scotland get their prescriptions for free. Okay, can you imagine going to the doctor and getting your prescription for free? Whereas here in the United States, I mean, you have to be living under a rock to have not heard about some of the issues they have with their healthcare. And you know, you hear stories of people that get cancer and they go bankrupt because they have to pay out of pocket for that type of service, for that type of treatment. I know there's some people that they couldn't afford, you know, their insulin or penicillin or all this kind of stuff because it was completely, you know, you have to pay for it, and that is really scary, and I don't ever want to be in that situation. So as a Canadian, I mean, I have no dog in either of these fights, but there's something so special about the NHS, and I really, really hope the UK takes care of it. It's not a perfect system, and I have a whole video about the NHS that's separate, you can go watch. It's not a perfect system, but it is absolutely vital, I think. And that's one of the really big things that the US just doesn't get right. And number 5, the 5th way that the UK is better than the US, vacation days. Vacation days are very important to me, and I will talk about this issue literally till the day I die. It's very important. Now, just to put it into perspective, I found an article on the CBS News website that says this. The United States is the only advanced economy that does not guarantee its workers any paid vacation time, and is one of only a few rich countries that does not require employers to offer at least some paid holidays. So the article goes on to say that a typical US worker at a private company gets 10 days of paid vacation and 6 paid holidays. So vacation would be like you're going away or you're having a staycation, whatever, and then these 6 paid holidays would be things like Christmas, New Year's, Easter, that sort of thing. So they reported that the typical US worker that is hired at a private company full-time gets 10 days vacation and 6 paid holidays. That's disgusting. So the article says that France has the most generous vacation policy, mandating a minimum of 30 paid days off each year. The UK comes second at 28 vacation days, followed by Denmark, Finland, Norway, and Sweden, all at 25 days. So, not to rub it in, Brits, but you guys do lose to the French, and I can only imagine how that feels. But at the same time, can you imagine only having 10 days vacation and it is not mandated by law that a company has to give you that? That is not okay. I think as much as I love the US, I mean, Florida here, well, I'll do another video specifically about Florida. Florida is almost like its own country. It's crazy down here. It's wild. It's weird. It's fabulous. It's just very strange. But the US as a whole is a wonderful country. And I have thought, you know, maybe one day I live in the UK. Not the UK. I'd like to go back to the UK. But maybe someday, you know, living in the US or whatever. But because of the healthcare and because of the vacation days, I have no interest in living in the US. It's just, it's not beneficial enough, if that makes sense. So those are 5 ways that I think the UK is better than the US. Of course, there's lots of different things we could talk about, but I thought those ones, at least for me, are things that would come up in a day-to-day life. Does that make sense? Good. I guess that's all I wanted to say. So if you guys have any opinions, because I know you guys are full of them, leave a comment down below on why you think the UK is better than the US. I don't mean it as like a negative competition, because it's not. I just thought this would be an interesting video idea, and hopefully lots of people click on it, and then YouTube pays me more money, and then I can just be happy, because money is the source of happiness. I'm just kidding. If you are new here, this is called sarcasm, but also, so thank you guys so much for watching. I think at this point, I'm gonna go outside, get a tan, because your girl is still very white from living in England for the last 4 years. So while I'm here in Florida, which is not very long, I think I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to get a tan. And I'd like to do a few more US related videos for you guys while I am here. And then I will be going back to Canada to hang out until, hopefully, my UK visa is approved, and then I'll be back to the UK. So it's a lot of traveling around, a lot of being in international airports. I hope I don't have corona, because that would be upsetting, but I guess we will find out. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!